Will you pray with me? God invites us, invites us, invites us to the home of peace. Well, today I'm bringing you the sermon in the form of a slideshow. Don't worry, it's an invisible slideshow. And here are the slides right behind me. So I wanted to show you some images of love and belonging. These are slides from my life, from the world, and from the faith community. Here I am, I think about age 11, in rural East Tennessee. I'm lying in the deep green grass on my back, surrounded by beautiful green trees, looking up at the fluffy white clouds passing by. See that very cute little black lab puppy with his head on my arm? That's Nero. Nero and I are enjoying some moments. He gives a deep sigh. And I experienced a powerful feeling that we belong together, that we belong to each other, to the earth, to God. In that vast beauty, I still remember feeling both so small and so big and grand. I think that is the illustration of what we heard in Psalm 8. So today in our sermon and in our worship, we get a wide perspective on things, a Psalm 8 perspective, namely that we are part of God. We are made in the image of God in majesty, whole and holy. Here are the confirmands at their beach retreat a few weeks ago. Now, they are thinking, writing, having some very interesting conversations about what does it mean to follow Jesus. Today from Matthew, we heard that following Jesus means going to all the world and sharing with all the nations, that means the world, the good news. Oops, I didn't mean to show this one. Just don't look at it. But it is the person who came to my door trying to convince me that if I don't believe in Jesus the same way he believes in Jesus, I'm out of luck when I die, and I am not going to heaven. Do I believe that sharing the good news with all the world means that we must demand that people believe the same doctrines that I do about Jesus and God, and to judge those who don't as lacking? No, I do not buy that. I believe this is the good news we share. We belong to God, not just our human parents. We belong to the God of love and mercy and grace, and that we are called, all of us, to live into our wholeness and to show that love to others. The world is hungry for that news. My oldest son is going to kill me for showing you this slide. He's 5 years old. He's sitting in the bubble bath. He's sitting there with this faraway look on his face. And I ask Alex, What are you thinking? I'm wondering. What are you wondering? I'm wondering, who am I? And what am I doing here? These are baptism and confirmation questions. Who am I? I'm made in God's image, beloved of God. What am I doing here? My purpose is to love God and to love others as I love myself and to share that with all. Not only do we come from the physical waters of birth, but the waters of baptism are a mark of our belonging to God. So today, in confirmation celebration, we celebrate that we belong. Yes, we are going to be reciting words from the Apostles' Creed, which goes all the way back between the 2nd and 5th century. They are ancient words. They are our tradition. And yes, some of us may have trouble saying some of those words because they don't strike us as literally fitting. However, my advice is this: to remember we are all at different places on our journey of faith. And hopefully for all of us, whether we are in middle school or high school or college or near the end of our lives, we are on a lifelong journey of faith-seeking understanding. The point is, we are in this together. This journey is belonging together. This image is sad. See that devastating landslide where the forest was clear-cut and there's no logs left for creatures to live on? And see how the mountainside is eroded from flooding? This is an example of the dominion mindset, that long tradition of humanity of using up natural resources, justified by the belief that God gave it to us to use up and we're superior. And yes, I think somebody had a good point. Using up and abusing nature is the opposite of the belonging. The psalmist said, "What are mere mortals that you, God, should care for them? Yet you've made them a little less than divine and have made them to rule over the works of your hands and put all things under their feet." An authentic expression of being a little less than divine, made in God's image, is loving relationship. I love this one. This sweet, dark-eyed child cuddling in the arms of her mama and her baba. This illustrates the meaning of that Aramaic word, Abba. It means daddy or papa. It's a reminder that in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus prayed to Abba, his daddy, knowing that God's love was with him at the beginning, is with us at the beginning, is now and into all that comes next. So this is the photo you can find on the church website. It's our confirmands leaping in the air, and we're celebrating today Gloria and Evan and Tanner and Keegan, and next week Satya. We get to celebrate that we are holy, majestic, made in God's image, and loved through thick and thin, through all that life gives and takes. God's love remains, even when we sometimes turn away. God is always calling us back. That's the good news to share with all nations. That is the message the world is so hungry for. Jesus sent the 11 and each of us to feed the world with this news of love and grace. And you know what? We get a chance to practice it every single day. Think about the hardest person in your life to love. There's the practice field. It's hard to remember when we are in a hurry. It's hard to remember when we are busy with work, with school, with sports and dancing and church activities and volunteering and traveling. Unless we slow down, we might forget God altogether. This is me on a Monday. It's my Sabbath day. See the unmade bed? The undone housework? I'm just sitting there looking out, drinking my coffee, enjoying the trees and listening to the birds. I'm resting. Writer Anne Lamott nailed it. She said, almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. Observing a pause, a Sabbath, it's not simply good self-care. It's necessary for remembering our very reason for being alive, to remember that we are made to love and be loved. And I believe without the regular practice of simply being, we fall into patterns that separate and isolate. We act as though we can and we should have control of everything. We fear if we lose control or we mess up, we won't be loved. We live as functional atheists without trusting God. We live without connection to the world, to our deepest selves, and to others. Hasidic Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi said this: there is a disease rampant, a chronic, low-grade depression that never knows how to smack its lips and say, it's good to be alive. This is our final slide, and it's actually a magic slide because it's something that hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen in a few minutes. Here we are, enjoying cupcakes and cake after worship. We are enjoying each other's company, and we are, by our presence, by our listening, saying, it's good to be alive. It's good to belong to one another and to God. Enjoy.